Welcome to Welcome Home Doggy, a show that works to create a better quality of life for all dogs. I'm your host, Arianna Lasha, and today's guest is Jason Flatt, owner and founder of Pitbull rescue organization Friends to the Forlorn. So stay with us. All right, Jason, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I just want to go ahead and get right into it with how you got your start in animal rescue.
I've been rescuing animals since I was a kid. When I grew up in New York City, I was born into a house with a Pitbull, and I was taught very early age that our dog was family. And being around the apartments, there's always stray animals, dogs, cats. I always brought them home. But it went to another level once I moved to Georgia 16 years ago.
Okay. And what was the catalyst to make you start Friends to the Forlorn?
Oh, well, back 16 years ago, I had an older brother who committed suicide. And when my brother passed, a couple months later, I moved to Georgia, tried to create a new life and leave some things behind. And I found myself in a pretty bad place mentally. And the way that I grew up, you're not allowed to crumble. Men don't cry, men don't feel pain, and you're not supposed to fall victim to circumstances. And you have to be strong. And because I was carrying the world for everybody else, my mother, my family, and I couldn't let them see me crumble. But inside, I was pretty affected by it. So I moved down here, and it hit me hard. And no matter how far away you are from, where your memories are, they find you. And I met some people down here. One day, a guy calls me up and says, my daughter found this little 5-week-old Pitbull puppy. It's covered in fleas. He goes, I'm going to take it to the pound. I said, don't take it to the pound. Bring it to me. So I took in this little puppy named Angelo. We named him Angelo. And he became my purpose. He kind of brought me out of that trench that I was in. And he was like my life. And I promised him, I said, you saved me. I said, I'm going to pay it forward. I'm going to save someone for you. And I started looking for Pitbulls to adopt. And I went to the pound in DeKalb. And at the time, DeKalb County Animal Control didn't adopt out Pitbulls to the public. They killed on average 135 Pitbull and Pitbull mixes a month. And I said, this really sucks. I said, someone's got to do something about it. And I walked out of there. I said, I guess that's going to be me. And they told me in order to get a dog out of there, you had to get a rescue involved. And I started fostering for a rescue, and it just wasn't enough for me. I felt like there was more to be done. And one thing led to another. I'd just go to the pound and I'd adopt the dog in the worst condition I can find. And I'd say, I'll take that one. And the worse they were, the bigger the setbacks, the bigger the comebacks. It just did something for me. I felt better. And that was my therapy. And the more I saved, the better I felt. And just one thing led to another, from one dog at a time. Birth of Friends to the Forlorn, and it's been a wild ride.
And you said that you had pit bulls growing up, and when you came to Georgia, Angelo was your first rescue. Mm-hmm. But why did you stick with pit bulls?
Because nobody was rescuing them. There were so many pit bulls in the pound. They were the most. They needed the most help, and every pound is full of pit bulls. That's all you see.
Why?
A number of reasons. There's a stigma that's attached to them. Everybody's afraid of them. People are afraid of what they don't know. They don't actually have any experience with pit bulls, but they're afraid of them. Most of the people that end up adopting dogs, they're like, oh, I used to be afraid of pit bulls until I had one. I'm like, yeah. There's a stigma that's attached to them. There's, sometimes they have personality traits that people can't handle. And, dogs are throwaways. You can always throw away a dog and get another one. They're property. People have, down south, they tend to have like this agricultural mindset. It's almost like the livestock mentality. They're replaceable. And I grew up differently, so I don't know. I just felt like they needed somebody to help them, and here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked a little bit about that stigma against pit bulls, but let's dive a little bit more into that reputation that they have of being dangerous or vicious animals. What's your response to that?
Pit bulls have great personalities. People don't realize that on temperament tests, they beat out golden retrievers. Pit bulls can be dog aggressive. Dog aggressive and human aggression, it's two different things. Just because an animal doesn't like another animal doesn't mean that it's not going to like a child or a person. And there's a lot of misconception in that people think there's a lot of carryover, and there's really not.
You shouldn't leave any kind of dog around a child or
Wouldn't
baby,
leave
right?
any animal around a child or an infant unattended. Kids are not nice to animals sometimes. They don't mean to be, but they get in their faces, they pull their hair, pull their ears, pull their tails, poke at them. It's never a good idea to leave a child with an animal unattended, especially an infant.
Right. So we've nailed down that you guys are a pit bull rescue organization, but do you guys rescue any other dogs or any kind of other animals?
We've rescued everything. 2 donkeys, we have saved a vulture, we have cats, I have a blind cat that had herpes, you name it, we've rescued them all.
Wow. And
Horses.
then how do those come to you? Do people just like, hey, Jason, I've got a vulture that I need you to check out?
People come to you with everything. Sometimes people come to me to talk to their children because they're not doing good in school. I was like, don't come to me,
And
wrong
then
guy.
You scare them straight.
No, you seem to be a problem solver. People come to you with everything. People come to me for plumbing recommendations. They want a plumber. Jason, you know a plumber? Yeah, I do. Yeah, you have a contractor? Yeah. So babysitter? Yeah. Dog sitter? Yeah, anything. Veterinarian? It's like I'm like a list, I have the Jason list.
Yeah, so you're doing it all at Friends to the Forlorn.
We help everybody.
So go ahead and break down how your organization works. I know you're a foster-based rescue, so what does that mean?
We're a nonprofit, so we run on donations. We're foster-based. We don't have a facility per se. Like my home is our facility.
Okay.
We house about 30 dogs there at any given time. We are in the process of trying to build a facility. We just started our capital campaign, which was put on hold because of COVID. And everybody knows 2020 just sucked for everything. We stayed busy. Other rescues closed their door. We were busier than ever. And we actually had a decent year. Helped a lot of people, helped a lot of animals, helped the community a lot. But we're foster-based. We rely on fosters for most of our housing of our dogs, and it's hard. It's hard.
And so other than people like calling you and they're like, Jason, I have a rescue for you, how do you get the other dogs like in your organization?
Every pound across the country calls us. They're overloaded. These pounds, or shelters as they call them, are overflowing with animals. The pandemic was great for emptying the pounds. Now that people are back to work, those dogs are going back to the pound. A lot of people adopted dogs when they were home during the pandemic and working from home or not working at all. And it was great because they spent a lot of time with these animals. But now that they have to go back to the office, the animals are not used to being alone. They have a lot of separation anxiety. And animals are expendable. A dog has an accident on the floor, a dog eats a cabinet, it's gone. People don't want them anymore. So we're seeing a lot of that. Everybody reaches out to us. In rescue, there's what people are called cross posters. They post animals in need. I'll get tagged in the same dog 4 or 5 times a day. The phone never stops here. The emails, 1,500 a day. Our social media blows up, messages. So we never have to go looking for a dog. We're never in shortage. Since the day that I've opened, I've been full.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. That's what you want as a rescue, to try to get these dogs homes, forever homes, right?
Right, but they come in a lot faster than they get adopted.
Okay.
That's the problem. Finding the right homes is really difficult with this breed. You don't want to fail them. Society has failed them enough. Everybody fails them at every level, from owners to breeders to pounds to rescue organizations. These dogs experience failure throughout.
Failure in what way?
They set them up to fail. They send them out, the breeders breed them, sell them to the wrong people. The wrong people then breed them, sell them to the wrong people, give them to the wrong people. They end up in the pounds. Pounds either euthanize them or they adopt them out, sometimes not to the right people. Then you have to rescue them again and again, if they're lucky to survive. The people who adopt them sometimes fail them, put them in the wrong situations. Every time that these dogs get failed, they fail. It's a mark against them, it's a mark against the breed, and it creates that stigma.
And if I'm not mistaken, pit bulls are like the neediest breed of adoption.
Yeah.
And that's not just here in Georgia, right?
No, it's nationwide. You go into any metropolitan area, any pound, usually 80 to 85% pit bull mixes. And the problem is most of the rescues don't take pit bulls or pit bull mixes because they're hard to adopt out. And it's a losing business model. If you survive on adoption fees, we would have been under a long time ago. The amount of money that we invest in these dogs as opposed to the money that we collect at adoption, not a good ratio, not a good business model. You fail.
Yeah. And so, Jason, you seem like a tough guy. I know this application process is tough too. If people want a dog. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, our application, we want to make sure that we're sending the dog to the right place. We don't want to have to rescue them again. Our application process is severe. 7-8 page application. We do home checks, veterinarian checks on your past animals, employment checks, property record checks, criminal background checks. And we try to do everything in our power to make sure that we're setting these dogs up for success. And sometimes we don't get it right. Things change, people change, situations change. But the other thing about Friends to the Forlorn is we're committed. So once our dog, always our dog. We'll take a dog back after 10 years. Doesn't matter. We'll find room for it.
And since you began in 2009, roughly how many dogs have been rescued by your organization?
I'm horrible with numbers. We probably saved over 1,000 dogs. We've helped tons more, but they've actually gone through our rescue. Yeah, probably around 1,000.
And why the name Friends to the Forlorn? Can you explain the inspiration behind that title?
I wanted people to think. A lot of people don't have a vocabulary. I wanted people to look into it.
Google, what does forlorn mean?
You'd be surprised how many people don't know what forlorn means. It means thrown away, discarded, nobody wants you. And that's what these dogs are. They're thrown away and discarded, nobody wants them. Or if people want them, they want them for the wrong reasons, or the wrong people want them. And to me, when I say I'm your friend, that means I have your back, no matter what. So I take their back. We don't give up on them. If they stay in the rescue for the rest of their lives, that's fine. They're safe. So that's where the name came from.
Yeah. And since you began, what has been the most, or even now, what's the most challenging part of your job, even through the day-to-day at Friends to the Forlorn?
The people.
The people.
The people. Never the dogs. I don't care if a dog is aggressive. I don't care. Dogs, easy. Dogs, they're simple. You take care of them, give them a little love, give them a little attention. They're good. It's the people.
I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the egos, it's the attitudes, it's the sense of entitlement, it's the neglect that you see on a daily basis. People ruin everything. They really do. It's a beautiful world out there. It's the people that are ugly.
Okay. In terms of the dogs, are there any challenging parts running this rescue with the pit bulls?
Finding homes for them. That's challenging. Finding the right homes for them. You know, we take in dogs that are in horrible shape. We don't know what their personality is going to be like. You know, thousands of dollars of surgeries and medical care, and then you find out what the dog is like, and then you have to try to find. It's like Match.com, you know, but their life depends on it.
And that's why the application process is so extensive.
Yeah, and the rescue community thinks that you should get rid of application processes. You know, a lot of people think just adopt them out; they'll be fine. I can't do that, not with my breed, not when everybody out there is headhunting for them. Even dog lovers hate pit bulls. They're the breed that people love to hate. So, you know, they're trying to ban them in areas, and every wrong move that we make with them, every time we fail them and they fail, it's another law, it's another breed-specific legislation being passed. It's you're just giving them ammunition to ban a breed that the humans have failed. We created it and we failed them.
So what's Friends to the Forlorn doing to not fail them, to change the narrative against pit bulls?
Everything in our power. We try to educate people. We speak at schools, from, believe it or not, kindergarten classes up to, I've lectured at UGA. I've lectured in prisons, jails. We try to educate owners. We run spay-neuter programs, because we're never going to rescue our way out of this pet overpopulation problem, especially with pit bulls. So we offer free spay and neuter for our community. We've fixed over 7,000 animals in the last 5 years, dogs and cats. We do shot clinics, give out free vaccines. Sometimes people going through a hard time, they'll turn their animal over because they can't afford vet care. We'll provide the vet care so they don't have to turn their animal over, and hopefully they get back on their feet. And, you know, we don't want to enable people, you know, but so we do a lot of outreach work. We do a lot of education, a lot of spay-neuter, and a lot of hardcore rescuing. You know, if we rescue from somebody, if we rescue a litter of puppies from someone, an unwanted litter, I won't take them unless we fix the mother and father. You know, so we end the cycles. You know, just everything in our power. That's what we do.
And being in this business for as long as you've had, obviously you've had like a lot of challenging stories or sad stories, but there's always the success stories, the happy ones too. So what's the most rewarding part of this job?
You know, seeing a dog grow old and be happy. Seeing a pit bull with a white face. Some of them don't make it. You know, seeing a senior pitizen, as we call them. You know, seeing dogs grow old, and you know, our adopters sending pictures and videos of these dogs that have enjoyed a full life that we know never would have made it. You know, they all have stories. Every one of our dogs have their stories. I can't change what happened to them in the past. My job is to change the future.
Right.
To change their, you know, we make the rest of their lives the best of their lives. And that's our goal.
And speaking of goals, what do you see in the future at Friends to the Forlorn?
I see pit bulls.
Obviously.
I see them all the time. What do I see?
What are your goals?
I'm getting older. I'm almost 50. It's been a rough life, you know, stressful. I see myself building something that's going to be here long after I'm gone, so that maybe one day we can finally put a dent in it, you know? I've been doing this for 12 years and I feel like we haven't made a dent. It's getting worse. It's getting worse, not better. And you think with all the technology, and we can make fake meat, and we can do this, and you can talk to your phone and order food and it can be delivered to your door, and we still have animals that are in need and children that are starving, and it just, it blows my mind. But I see, I see myself coughing. Sorry. Edit that. I see us building this facility. I think seeing the public getting behind us, seeing that we're doing things that nobody else is going to do. There's going to be a facility that nobody else has built anything like. And you'll see it just transform. And I think that we're going to keep building, and we're going to make safe places for these animals. And maybe one day turn the corner, flip the ratio of dogs killed to dogs adopted.
Well, I think you are right. I think you have made a dent, even having one dog be rescued, and you've had like thousands in your organization, and you have the educational programs. You definitely made a difference in the community. So
Thank you.
yes,
Sometimes
you need to believe that.
it's hard to celebrate small victories when there's so many battles to fight
Right.
out there. You know,
Right.
it's a never ending. It's like you never can take a break. You can't take a break because there's always another emergency. There's always another animal in need. And then if you look at, people say, "Oh, you're a successful pit bull rescue. You're around." Every pit bull rescue that was around when I started is long gone. Everyone that came after me, pit bull rescues don't make it in Atlanta. Breed-specific pit bull rescues don't make it. So I guess still being here and still growing every year, we're doing something right. But like I said, the ratio of dogs that we turn away to the dogs that we actually are able to rescue, one day I just want to flip that ratio. I want to flip it. I want to have to go out and look for dogs. I want to be that rescue that goes, "Oh, let me go into the pound and find the dog, and let me find one." We don't ever do that. We've never walked into a pound and said, "Hey, let's go pick that dog up." In the very beginning when I first started,
Yeah.
but now every pound call, we don't. It's emergent. In the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 dogs hit by cars that have required major surgery, and thank God we have the followers and the supporters and the fosters and the board members. It just comes full circle. We have an amazing little organization that makes it all possible.
And the next big thing that I see that I really want for you guys is for your facility.
God, please.
And hopefully we'll be able to come and film and do a tour in your new facility.
I hope. I mean, that's the dream. We just started our capital campaign right before the pandemic, had to put everything on hold. How can I raise money for a facility when I have animals and we're taking in more and more? I had to concentrate on that. The world was so uncertain at the time, and still is. The cost of things are going way, way high. But now we're back. We're in discussions with our architect. We have meetings every Thursday. We've raised over $1 million for our first phase, which is estimated to be somewhere around $5 million. Construction costs rising, but like I said, I have a feeling once we build that first phase, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth are going to come pretty easy. Because I think once the world sees what we're doing for these dogs and the state-of-the-art facility that nobody's built before, it's not a facility for the public. It's a facility built for the dogs. So we're not concerned about fancy hallways and human amenities. This is for the dogs. We're building it from a dog's perspective. We want every dog to have everything it needs.
And like I said, we can't wait to come and check it out. Jason, go ahead and tell us a story about Sophie.
Oh, I was up in a meeting in Hall County, and one of our fosters, Stacy, was texting me. She said, "There's an emergency at DeKalb County. There's a puppy that's lifeless. She has no pulse and no temperature. It's not recording. Found on the side of the road. And a rescue was supposed to take her, and it fell through. It was after hours. It was 6 o'clock, and our vets were closed. So I said, just go ahead and get the dog." And I called one of our veterinarians, and she was unfortunately at a memorial service for a friend who passed away. And she called me back, and she said, "How long before the dog is before you can get the dog to the animal hospital?" I said, "Probably 8, 9 o'clock at night." She said, "I'll meet you there." So she had worked all day. She went to memorial service, then left the memorial service and came back. Stacy ran to the cab, grabbed Sophie, and I was racing from Hall County, and walked in the door. We were in the middle of fundraising, so I was on a live video. And part of me is like, do I want to stay alive? What if this dog doesn't make it? This dog is lifeless. And I was just like, oh God, please. Tired, Mama. I know. But that's the reality. I said, if the dog dies while I'm live on social media, this is reality. This is harsh, and people need to see it because at least we tried. And one of our vet techs, Sarah, came in. My vet, Dr. Gullidge, came in, and Sarah brought her own personal dog. Sophia was her name. And we did a blood transfusion. And almost on cue, it was almost like we set it up. all of a sudden this little dog who was lifeless just raised her head and moaned. And Stacy Foster took her in, and it was a little rough go for a minute, but as you can see, she's full of life.
You cannot even tell.
No,
that
you
she
can't. It's
was
not the same.
that
But
close.
she was. I mean, technically, clinically dead.
Yeah.
And we didn't give up on her, and she did the rest. She's the remarkable one.
Yeah.
We got a great vet and great staff and great fosters, like I said, and great people who supported us. We didn't exploit the dog. We didn't raise thousands of dollars. We did what was necessary, and she's thriving. And you could see her tail's beating me up pretty good. But she's just, and that's what it's about. This, seeing this, that's the payback.
And if people want to see or read any more success stories, they should just visit your website, or if they want to
or social
adopt a
media,
dog like
or if you want to. Sophie's up for adoption. You up for adoption?
I might have to take Sophie home myself. Well, if you want to know more about today's episode and guests, be sure to visit our website and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. I'm your host, Arianna Lasha, and this is Welcome Home Doggy.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.